Hello friends, you are welcome to our literary channel Academic Domain. Today I am going to talk about the poem Fidelity by William Wordsworth. It's a very beautiful poem and we will discuss line by line in English language. And friends, if you want to listen the explanation of the same poem in Hindi language, please click the link given below. And if you want to know about the poet William Wordsworth, I have made a separate video based on the poet. Go to YouTube and type William Wordsworth Academic Domain, you will get it. And if you want to get the question answer based on the poetry of William Wordsworth, please visit theacademicdomain.com. So friends, in this poem there are 8 stanzas. In most of the stanzas there are 8 lines, but sometimes 9 or 10 lines are also there. And it is a very beautiful poem. In this poem, the poet is trying to show that how faithful an animal used to be, how loyal an animal used to be. So we will see the poem. And before that, friends, if you haven't subscribed my channel yet, please subscribe it and press the bell icon to get notified my new videos. Now we will talk about the poem here. A barking dog, a barking sound, the shepherd hears. Now the poet says that there was a shepherd and hears a barking sound, a cry as of a dog or fox. So the cry was, it seems that it was a cry of a dog or a fox. He halts, he stops there, the shepherd stops there and searches with his eyes. And he is searching that, and just he is running his eyes that from where that sound is coming. Among the scattered rocks, and he is running his eyes among the scattered rocks, the rocks which are scattered there. And now at distance can discern. So at some distance he could discern means know, understand. So at some distance he could see, he could understand, he could know a stirring in a break of fern. So there was a stirring, there was a movement where in a break of fern is a plant, and break we can say the group of that plants we can say. So in that plant there were fern plants, and in those plants the shepherd could see the movement, and instantly a dog is seen, and suddenly a dog was appeared there, glancing through that covert green. And that dog was glancing, that dog was looking through that covert means secret place or hidden place. Green means greenery, because it was covered by the shrubs, it was covered by the plants. So the shepherd saw that a dog was glancing, a dog was looking from that place. So now let's go for the second stanza. The dog is not of mountain breed. Now the shepherd is thinking that this dog is not a mountainous dog. This dog is not a mountain breed. It seems that it was a pet dog. Its motion too are wild and shy. So the way it was barking and the way it was, it was appearing, it seems that it was a pet dog. It was not a mountain breed. With something, as the shepherd thinks, unusual in its cry. So when the shepherd listened his cry, or his barking, so he could understood that it was not a mountain breed, it was a pet dog. Nor is there anyone in the inside. Now he was surprised that if it is a pet dog, then how it could came here, because no one is here. If it is a pet dog, then his master should be here somewhere. So nor is there anyone in the side. So no human being was there in the side, in that surrounding. Only that dog was there, all round in hollow or height. So in that surrounding, it may be a hollow place, or it may be that pit, or the lower place, or the height, or the higher place. So no human being was there. Nor shout, even there was no shout of the master, nor whistle strikes his ear, and there was not a the sound of the whistle there. What is the creature doing here? Now the shepherd is thinking that what does the creature what is the creature doing here? When if it is a pet dog, so his master should be with him, but his master is not here. No human being is there. There is no shout. There is no that sound of the whistle. So what does this creature do here? Now the third stanza. It was a cove, a huge recess. So it was a cove. Cove means bay, like Bay of Bengal. So it was a cove, that place. Now he talks about that place, that how mysterious, how dangerous that place was. So it was a cove, it was a bay, a huge recess, and there was a huge recess, a huge pit, we can say, a huge gap, we can say, a huge open place in that keeps till June December's snow. So it is so cold place that December's snow doesn't melt till the month of June. A lofty precipice in front, and in front of that there was a lofty, there was a high steep cliff, there was a high that sloping hill, a silent town below, and below there was a silent town. Town means lake. So below that there was a silent lake. Now he talks about the setting, that how mysterious, how that isolated place was that. Far in the bosom of Havelin. And where this place was? It was in the bosom of Havelin. Havelin is a mountain in England. So this place was in the bosom of Havelin. It was very far from the human being. In the bosom of Havelin means, we can say in the bottom of Havelin, we can say beside Havelin, we can say in the lap of Havelin mountain. So this place was in the bottom of Havelin mountain, remote from public road or dwelling. It was very isolated, very far from the public road and from the people, from the human existence. Pathway or cultivated land. It was very far from the footpath, and it was very far from the cultivated land. From trace of human foot or hand. So there are no trace of human foot or hand. So the poet is trying to say that this place was very isolated place. This place was very far from the human existence. So he was wondering, the shepherd was wondering that how a pet dog came here and what does it do there. So the fourth stanza, there sometimes doth a leaping fish. Now, some sounds could be listened there. What were those sounds? That there sometimes doth a leaping fish send through the town a lonely cheer. So the sound which could be listened there was the sound of leaping fish in the town, in the cave. The sound of the splashing fish in the cave. The cracks repeat the raven's croak. So other sound was there, was the croak of raven, which was echoing in the cracks. Cracks means rocks, because it was a hilly area. So the other sound was there, it was the raven's croak, which was echoing in the cracks, which was echoing in the rocks. In symphony austere. So the poet says that these sounds were making a very simple, a very melodious, a very beautiful sound. Thither the rainbow comes the cloud. Now the poet says that there we can see the rainbow in the cloud, and mists that spread the flying shroud. And mist, we can see the mist there, we can see the that the fog there, which was flying like a shroud. It means that these things were creating a mysterious that setting. So the poet is trying to say that in such a mysterious place, how which was very far from the human existence, how a pet dog came here and what does it do there. And sunbeams, what else could be seen there? There could be seen the sunbeams and the sounding blast, and we could see some sound there, some very loud sound there, some blasting sound there, that if it could would hurry past. That the sound, it was so loud sound that it could come out of that place, but it was stopped by the cracks, it was stopped by the mountains. So here the poet says that, but that enormous barrier holds it fast. But those enormous barriers, it means those enormous, those high barriers means rocks, those high hills used to stop those sound, used to stop that sound. Otherwise, it is so loud that it can come out from that place. So now the fifth stanza, not free from boarding thoughts. Now he talks about that shepherd, that he was not free from boarding thoughts. Boarding, we can say an omen, and omen means that we can say ill thought. So the shepherd thought that there is some danger, so he was not free from that dangerous thought, that some danger is there, that's why a pet dog is there. A while the shepherd stood. So shepherd stood for a while, for some time, then makes his way over rocks and stones. Then he went there where the dog was, and he makes his way, and he went there through the rocks and stones, following the dog as quickly as he may. So following the dog, he went there where the dog was as quickly as possible. Not far had gone there he found. So he didn't cover a long distance, he didn't go very far. Just after some distance he found. What does he found? A human skeleton on the ground, and he found a human skeleton there. It means that only the bones were remained. The appalled discoverer with a sigh. The appalled, terrified, horrified discoverer here is, it is used for the shepherd, that when he discovered that he was horrified, he was terrified, with a sigh looks around, and he began to look everywhere to learn the history, and he began to think that what happened actually, how this man came here, how he died. So he began to he began to look everywhere, and he was trying to understand the mystery, he was trying to understand the history of the situation. So now the sixth stanza, from those abrupt and perilous rocks the man had fallen. Now it was clear to that shepherd that from these, abrupt, a very sharp and perilous and dangerous rocks, because it was a hilly area, so the shepherd understood that the man fallen from these sharp and perilous and dangerous rocks, that place of fear, at length upon the shepherd's mind it breaks, and all is clear. So that place of fear, so that it was a very fearful place, so that man fell from the perilous from dangerous rocks. At length upon the shepherd's mind. So at length, at the end, in the shepherd's mind, everything was clear. It came in his mind, and everything was clear, that that man fell from the dangerous rocks. He instantly recalled the name, and now suddenly he remembered the name of that man, and who he was, and he remembered that who was that man, and whence he came, and from where that man came. Remembered too the very day on which the traveler passed this way, and he also remembered too, he also remembered that day when that traveler, when that man was coming this side. So let's see the seventh stanza. But here a wonder. Now the poet says that, listen this strange thing, for whose sake this lamentable tale I tell. Why I am telling this lamentable, this sad tale? Listen this. A lasting monument of words, this wonder merits well. Now the poet says that this wonder, this strange thing, this strange history, can be built like can be built in the form of monument of words. It means that the poet is trying to say that he can build a monument of words related to this history, related to this mystery, related to this tale. The dog. Now he is telling that the dog, which still was hovering nigh, and the dog who was still nearby, the dog who was still, that lingering nearby his master, repeating the same timid cry, and he was repeating the same, sad cry. He was barking sadly. This dog, this dog had been through 3 months' space. Now the poet is telling that that man came to that place 3 months ago. It means it is 3 months when that man died, and it's for 3 months when the dog was there and he was crying there. So he's telling that now he's telling that why I am telling this strange tale. Listen, now he's telling that that the dog who was nearby, the dog who was nearby his master, and who was barking sadly, he was here for the 3 months, a dweller in that savage place. So for 3 months, that dog was a dweller, was a resident of this savage, of this dangerous place. It means that the man died 3 months ago. Now the last stanza is proof was plain. It was clear since the day when this ill-fated traveler died. Since the day, that 3 months before, when this ill-fated, when this unfortunate traveler, unfortunate man died, it means that from that day onward, the dog was here. The dog had watched about the spot. So from that day, it means that from 3 months, the dog was watching that place. The dog was with his master there, and by his master's side, and he was beside his master, even his master, even after the death of his master. So he's trying to show that how loyal, as the title of the poem itself, that loyalty, fidelity means loyalty, faithfulness. So the poet says that for 3 months the dog was there. Even after the death of his master, he was nearby him and he was watching him. How nourished here through such long time. Now the poet says that how nourished, what did he eat for such a long time, for 3 months? He knows only. Who gave that love sublime? Who gave the love? Who, how his love for his master became such sublime? How his love for his master became such sincere? And gave that strength of feeling, and who gave him that feeling, who gave him that intimacy towards his master, great above all human estimate. So it cannot be estimated by the human being.